Hey guys, Jeff here, and today I wanted to share some lock-picking related stories that have happened to me. I do want to start by saying, remember the rules of LOCKSPORT. Only pick locks that you own or have permission to pick, and only pick locks that you do not depend on. Also, the locks that I will be working on in this video are only representative of the actual stories that happened. So, story number one. My wife and I purchased a house several years back, and we had 4 different doors in the house. 3 of them had both keys for the knob and deadbolts, and we also had a screen door. Now, of those 3 doors, there was actually 2 different keys, so I was able to use my skills in order to rekey all 3 of those to the same key. However, that 4th door was a screen door to my front porch. And in it, it had something similar to this lock, kind of a Euro type. Now, this one actually has the grub screws in the top. Mine did not. So I took my lock to my local big box store where they can cut keys and do rekeying and stuff. And I asked them if they could help me with it. And they said no. Actually the guy there told me he used to be a locksmith, but he didn't have the tools anymore to pick it or anything. He did show me where I could order the locks through the store. At that point I said, I have nothing to lose. Either I just buy a new lock and the old one's junk, or I try picking the one that I have. So I went out in the parking lot and I pulled out my pick and I pulled out my tension rod here. In fact, these were the exact tools I was using. And at that point in the parking lot of the store, I was determined. I finally got it picked open. I was then able, especially since it had the knob on the back, to take all of it apart and use my follower straight through in order to rekey the one for that screen door. So now all 4 doors at home are all on the same key. I was pretty happy with that. Plus it gave a little bit more legitimacy to my hobby, being able to show, hey, I can fix up things around home. Story number 2 happens when I had an uncle that was visiting my grandpa, and the uncle got to the house before Grandpa did and was able to use a key that he was given to unlock the back door. However, that back door was not often used with a key, and when he pulled the key out, the lock exploded. Now, the lock on that back door is one like this that has that little pin in there, and apparently it had managed to come loose, come unscrewed, so the whole thing exploded. At this point, Grandpa knew about my LOCKSPORT experience, but my uncle did not. And so my grandpa asked if I could help with things, of course knowing the answer. So I took a Tupperware lid that I knew where my grandma kept those. I carry, as an EDC, this single AAA mini mag, which happens to be, where's the Bible side on this one? The perfect size for a follower. And then I just found some of Grandma's tweezers, and using non-modified tweezers is a little bit tricky, but I was able to get the springs back in there. And of course, while I'm doing this, I managed to give some lessons too. Explained to my grandpa and my uncle that we could tell the difference in the pins because the driver pins are more sharp. So I'm only going to do a few of them here, if I can. The springs aren't going to cooperate right now. Nope. I explained to them that the driver pins were a little sharper, and so that tells me which pins needed to go up inside here. This is hard to do on camera. One moment. There we are. Sorry about that. Then you can see it jump back out at me. But the Mini Mag really is the perfect size for a lot of residential Schlage and quickset locks. I did forget part of why I was having trouble with this is with the keychain on the back. I have to do them all from one side, but I can take that keychain off and then I can do the other half. Let's see if I can get this portion on camera at least. There we go. So it takes a little bit of fiddling because if you're not using dedicated tools, of course, it's going to be a little bit harder. But it is still doable. Just have to be persistent. All right, and then once I had all of those driver pins in, I got to explain to them how the key itself works. And then we were also, and again, this is just a practice lock, but I was able to show them how I could use these pins, which are all beveled, so that way I knew they were the key pins, and start looking at it to see, like, here's my lowest one from the back, 1, 2, 3. So that tells me that this longest pin probably goes there. And I showed how, you know what, some of it's just a guessing game. But once we put the key in, we can tell if we did it right because those should all be level. So let's see if I can finish this up on camera before it runs out of memory. And then it was just a matter of sliding the parts back together. It works just as it should. So, those are my stories of how the LOCKSPORT skills and techniques have come in handy in real life. I would enjoy hearing in the comments below what kind of stories you have, especially if you're not a locksmith, where you've been able to save the day with some LOCKSPORT or LOCKSPORT related skills. Anyways, that's what I've got for today. Thanks for coming along, and I'll talk to you later.